This is the weekly weather with Maxina and April, where no matter the forecast, it's always sunshine and snow.
Hello, my friend. Would you like to pray, my friend, or shall I?
I'm great. Oof. Father God, we thank you for today. The ups, the downs, the all around. It has been a day, and we thank you for it. We ask you to join us while we have our conversation and our tea. May we be a blessing. May we be blessed. May we bless others. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. So besides the rain, how's the weather? It's not raining today. It's raining today. Um, it's really cranky this week, like irritable. And then it was, the circumstances saying, looking at the circumstances. And I kept praying for an attitude change. And then it did happen about halfway through Wednesday. It's like, get over it. You can't control the situation. So do your best. And it's been fine. I mean, I've been really productive this week. And I'm excited that book sales are going, I think, pretty swimmingly for my expectation.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm getting support from a lot of different directions. And so I really appreciate that. And I say support because I know that these aren't people who would typically buy a poetry book. You know what I mean? It's not, these are people who, and that's kind of why I did the thing that I did as the way that I did it, because I wanted them to be the first ones that I could do. I just if I'm going to create something, then I want the people I love to have the first, chance or opportunity at it. And honestly, I wish I could just give it away.
Right.
I wish I could just give away copies.
But you don't make my can't pay the bills that way.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
you gotta make at least enough to pay the bills.
Yes. I'll try my hardest if and everything, whatever. One day, maybe I can give everybody really great Christmas.
Do you know what I have, and don't say it out loud, but I have to sell at least this many to be able to have paid off the printer. Anything over that amount is icing on the cake.
Well, it sort of happens that way. Okay.
Do you just have to sell all of them because it doesn't get printed until it gets bought?
Well, it honestly depends on how the author does it. The way that I'm doing it, I'm ordering a batch.
Mm-hmm.
The batch that I have ordered is technically already paid for by the sales, but I will be at a surplus of inventory compared to what I've sold.
Correct. So there's a certain amount of, we'll just say, you print 100 copies of a book.
Mm-hmm. I did 25.
Listen, I got to round them up, take it easy. You say, printer, please print me 100 copies of my book.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay, I will charge you $50 to do that. So that means every book is every book is 50 cents.
Each book is $3 to print, roughly.
With the math I just used?
No, I'm just saying the printer charges me $3 per book.
Okay, so that would be $300. So he's going to charge $300. So then you have to make up a number, your book at a certain number, so that at a certain point, they're paid for and the rest literally is surplus.
Mm.
Do you know what that mark is in your head for what you actually have requested to be printed and are working on being sold? Do you have that number? So that I have to sell like 15 books before I can give one away. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a minute to get there.
No, I appreciate that. We can draw the picture if we need to. Diagrams help.
We'll have a white
I tell you what, it's follow a story, man. Sometimes you need a roadmap, but you did well. No roadmap needed, but you did well. So the the way that so on a spreadsheet, I have that number somewhere. It's not something that I have off the top of my head right now, just because I haven't done enough to be that savvy with the numbers yet. But I do know that the inventory that I've sold, and I've sold more than books. Each book that I've sold, I also has had a print with it.
Mhm.
And the income that I've received from my signing day ticket sales has already covered the cost of the 25 that I printed.
Gotcha.
So even though that's only, I think, 8 books, 7 or 8 books,
Mhm.
maybe more than that. I don't know. I just looked at it today, but some of the customers have multiple books. So anyway, but so if it was like 8 books and effectively 8+ prints, because one of them purchased multiple big packages. So out of those, I'm actually at a profit on that.
Good.
You know what I mean? Because it's the price helps that.
Gotcha.
But if I go back and just look at like what the per book, whatever it is, then so if I'm effectively selling each book for $15 and they each cost $3 to print, then there's a $12 margin. And then so, but selling one book effectively pays for 3 more books.
Okay. It's good to know that, because then you know when you can give away a book and not hurt yourself. And
Probably
you
about
can't,
4
you
books.
can't be a good steward. Going back to Kim's conversation, just giving it all away because you owe people.
Yes.
Other people's work is involved.
Mhm.
It's not just you sitting at a typewriter clackety clackety clacketing, as if it was, and the only person you're shortchanging is yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Actually,
other people
yeah.
that you have to pay those bills to. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
And that's why you can't just give them away for free.
Right. Yeah.
Like Mary Kay.
So if I was adaptable to a lifestyle in like a van,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I can give them. But I don't live in a van and that's not my life.
So funny that you say
So I have bills and I have, like I have a car and I take care of people and things and
my little daughter. There was a period of time where that was her thought. I want to live in a van.
yeah.
I don't want a job. I want to live in a van.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, great. But how are you going to pay for the van?
Yes.
How are you going to pay for the fuel?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to pay for the insurance?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to pay for repairs?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, right, you can't just
Right.
live in a van.
You still have to be productive.
There is cost to that. Now, having a fine plan, but you gotta
Have a plan.
gotta have plans. There's always gotta be a plan. Sometimes I'm the buzzkill because did we think this through? Do we have a plan? Because I'm all for you doing silly things. You want to do silly things, do silly things. But
Yes. Don't
can
put yourself.
you
Yeah.
afford to do silly things?
Otherwise, you put yourself in a situation of desperation and you chip away at your own soul trying to survive.
Yeah.
That's the consequence. And so, yeah, we must work in order to provide for ourselves as best that we can. Yes. That's the good and healthy way.
So I remember, not at firsthand remember because I didn't actually do it, but I remember the stories of the people that you could once upon a time hitchhike across the United States, just stop in at a diner, be like, can I just work for the week, work for tips? Like, mop the floor, do the dishes, whatever, just to make enough money to get into the next town.
Mm-hmm.
And you absolutely cannot live that lifestyle anymore. unless you find a farm, and those are few and far between now, to be like,
At lunch at 4 o'clock in the morning at the day labor places.
maybe. But even those, like they have certain requirements in order to be in that line.
Yeah.
And if you're just nomading it, like you can't do that like you used to. You have to have money.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you go out with a pocket full of savings? Like, did you save for this trip? Because it's weird. Because once upon a time, you could just go with buy items and man.
Right. Yes. Yes. And it's sort of created an environment where the ones who do provide those opportunities understand the position of those who are looking for those opportunities and are often in the position to help in order to take advantage.
Right.
And so not only are you in a position where your options are limited, but the options that you do have is, putting you in a position where you're dealing with seedy characters and, just, putting you at a disadvantage.
That stinks.
Yes. Yes, it does. It does.
Like,
It's hard to just mind the business and like sort of
just be kind. Kind. What's another?
mm. Yeah, I feel like a lot do. Many do. And though I'm not necessarily one who's of the mindset, I don't believe that we are inherently good. I believe we have the advantage of sort of starting out this day and age with the moral backdrop of the centuries behind us.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We have the histories, we've seen the atrocities. There's a lot of trial and error behind us. We have historical records of what was really truly horrid and led to the degradation of society and the things that are not that horrid and haven't led to the degradation of society.
Mhm.
Even with that data, I don't think that's really enough to give you a moral backdrop. I don't think there's really much that gives you a moral backdrop other than, well, the moral lawgiver.
Mhm.
And so I read a book one time, it was like a decade or so ago. It was one of the things in my dad's old collection. He died in '08. So anything that I was able to glean was like from this box. He had a box of my dad's. That's it. That's all I got. And it was like some of his writing and his sermons and his scribblings about probably word or inventions. I don't know. He was a madman. But in there was one of his books, and it's entitled "The Politically Incorrect Guide to Fire." And it talked about, yes, it was really, intriguing title. Like, all right, now what you reading? He was politics, man, and religion and philosophy and all kinds of stuff. So I read this book, and some of his notes were in the margin. I kind of wish he wrote more in the margin, but I'm a perfectionist and I don't like defacing books. And I want to get over that because I think that there was a treasure about leaving behind one's thoughts in the pages of the book. Just have to get past that. So in this book, they sort of point out how all of the nations of the world who have been touched by or influenced by the Judeo-Christian worldview are the ones who are flourishing as a society compared to those who either haven't been or have removed that backdrop from their societal standards. And it was just really, I don't remember if he included a chart or a graph or if it was like a numbers breakdown, but it was really interesting, the sort of concept. And that sort of always influenced, it planted this seed and it influenced how when I receive news from a certain place or this or that, I'm interested to know its historical connection with Jesus. What do you know about the maker of the universe? And that to me influenced and sort of made me observe what the what the difference really is between a humanity or a society practicing its humanity versus one who is sort of strictly legalistic for the sake of perpetuating its own ideology of how humanity can flourish or may flourish, which was essentially what the Nazi Party was trying to perpetuate, right? It was this idea of wiping out. They went after the disabled people first. They they trashed disabled people like they were the most deplorable of society. That's where they started, and then it ended up Holocaust. How it did. And so it was this concept of we have to cleanse the race. We know how to. This is the moral thing to do. We can't have. Uh, uh, but they were absolutely certain that that was the moral and right thing to do. That's why many of the ones who saw the atrocities and understood that it wasn't, up close, but the ones who defended it, they, with backdrop of morality, what backdrop of morality would you have? What excuse would you not have to do that? How do we make humanity better? You get a whiff of genetic understanding. You're like, oh, you're dumb. You know what I mean? If you have absolutely no wisdom,
Feels like, and of course, the eyes of hindsight, 2020, how can you not see how horrible that was?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they had this weird idea that God wants perfection. I don't think he ever asked for perfection. Just asked us to love him and love others. And it's so where you got lost. We need some wisdom. We need some wisdom. Well, it definitely opens your eyes when you have one of the other stories that it sort of triggers in my mind about that same concept. Have you ever read about the walled city? Was it Hong Kong? The walled city of there's a story about this city that became walled in. Okay. And it was an Asian Eastern Asian city. I am not remembering it. But essentially it became this enclosed place that was incredibly difficult to get out of, if at all. And it was incredibly populated. They just built up and up and up and up. They just built place upon place upon. They were living on top, like it was just this horrible. And it was basically overrun by all of the gangs. And that's who ran the city. I mean, it was like, if you think about like, Gotham City times whatever, like this, and it was just this walled city. And this book was written by a woman or about her. I don't remember if it was directly from her. Gosh. And so she snuck all of these kids out, or people out. That was what she made her life. But she was a missionary in this walled city, coming in and out of this horrid place where just absolute immorality and debauchery and it's sort of one of those things in the, history in our late enough history that we have information about it that you sort of see what happens when humanity is sort of in this hyper isolated place without any true legal finding. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. And I read another place. I don't remember who. I'm so terrible about citation. I'm a writer. Yes, but you're not ready.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on using this stuff anywhere. Oh gosh, I lost it anyway. So that's all by the wayside. Walled City I'm just trying to think, there's just, I don't know, there's just so many different examples of the things that you see and how easy it is for humanity to get out. So I read in another place um, about how a governing body, even really like tight, regimes that sometimes or even are overbearing, they are, it's still a more blessed experience than that of absolute lawlessness. So, like, to have a government who has absolute control, yes, is miserable, and we don't want that. And it does not contribute to the flourishing of mankind or society. But to have absolute lawlessness, no governing body, no checks and balances, that is to the detriment of society, absolutely. Like you will die out. You will die out. And so it's really interesting to see tight regimes in place and the temptation to want to curse them entirely, but then to recognize that the opposite of that is, watching kids get dragged out in the middle of the street and gunned down in front of you. And nobody gets to do anything about it. It is law. Yeah, because they are the law. That's one of the main reasons why, and a lot of these countries run by the cartel,
Mhm.
the citizenry doesn't. They're protected, but the cartel provides for them. They create oftentimes this environment where the cartel builds the schools. The cartel is providing transportation. The cartel is building up. The cartel is making the businesses. And so there's some people who speak very highly of the cartel because they work on the behalf of the citizens and that they create all this chaos and break in all this money, profiting off of that. But their own citizen. And what fist can they raise at them?
Right.
The government strips them of the right to have any. Huh. Yeah. It's a really hard place. Most places in the world. It gives you a strange perspective. I had to get on that. Where is my brain?
Also, what with you, my friend? I feel like it's been muggy. Yeah, very muggy, like very just muggy up here. Um, Filled in last week for my friend while she was prepping for her wedding. The wedding was oh, it was lovely. And then this week we had half most of our customer service staff was out. They were on a trip. And so they were like, please, you can at least answer questions and help if needed. And I was like, all right. So I stayed in Lakeland working but then today and tomorrow had to be on a job site in Largo. So it's just been a lot. I find my patience a little low as people ask things and I'm like, you mean the answer that's right there? But okay, I'll say it again. Have you had a chance to employ the raindrops method? No, as a matter of fact, I completely forgot about it until I went like this and I went, oh, yes. Yes. That's what I needed
That's
to
what I
be doing
needed.
all week. Yes. There was something, and there were back-to-back phone calls, and so the person there's an empty desk, and so I come and plop myself there, like my computer, that way I have all of my things, and it's in an office with somebody else. And I think it was yesterday. We were both just back in, we were just working hard, focused, and then the phones just kind of rang a couple times back to back, and somebody asked for something, and then it was like we both connect. We're both sitting there doing we're completely different things. Like our jobs are not like this. Like we're completely separate things. But we both went, what was I doing? Like I was actively doing something before all of these interruptions. What was it? It's like, I don't know. Me either. Yeah. So, all right, let's just pick up with this one and hope the other comes back to service. I'm sure I forgot to put something on a schedule.
Did it come back?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. It honestly, it's been that kind of a week where it's just the interruptions, and then it's like was right in the middle of something. I'll come back to it. I have to come up with a billing sheet for a project that has a weird billing structure. And they said, oh, and can we get billed weekly? I was like, I was already struggling to figure out how to make something that was going to be easily trackable for a regular month. Oh, okay. Don't let anything show up yet. I still need time to figure it out. So my brain's getting stretched this week.
Does the system that you usually have not have a
Oh,
utility?
it is not like any pricing structure we've used.
Gotcha.
And it's the customer has said that this is what we want. And we went, okay. But tracking it is the hard part. On paper, it looks at you. Oh yeah, easy breezy. Yeah, we can totally do that.
Yeah.
If you haven't been in the billing side of it, where you go, just track that. And how are you going to track that? Because that's going to be difficult. I'm just saying. And so you have to kind of, I had to figure it out what the easiest method is going to be to jump at.
Were you given a timeline on when they wanted to?
I need it ready before stuff starts showing up. And the original information we were given was stuff wasn't going to start showing up until April. So I'm like, yeah, I've got the month. Stuff showed up yesterday.
So you're already behind.
Welcome to the fog.
Not stink, stunk. Not fair.
And so that's when the pressure. But I tend to work well in that. It's irritating because
dopamine junkie.
I would really like to not have to be at that level of stress, because if too many things have me at that level of stress, then you're too close to the tipping point.
Yeah.
And my boss recognizes that too, which is funny. She's like, you have too little to do. You're no good because you're bored, you're distracted, you don't focus on anything.
Yeah.
If you have just enough keeping you going, you are to thrive there, and you just yep, because that one too many.
But yeah,
And it's weird because there is no warning light. There's no hazard ahead, slow down. Like it's just you are running and you are doing, and then nope, it's a big mess. You just hit the rocket. That's it. Gone. Everything's a mess. Parts are returned and set it all on fire. Set it all on fire.
Bless you for being so vulnerable to share that, because that's exactly how I was feeling. It's like I was irritable. I asked Ashley, I was like, can you feel this off of me? I hate me right now. I'm not having fun. And that was sort of where I was, like, in my mental reset. I'm like, God, my attitude stinks. Like, I need your Holy Spirit in this, because I suck right now. I've got nothing done. And we blasted the music and sort of danced off the tension. that sort of helps. But
Sometimes like that I do.
yeah.
Just a nice little dance off. I mean, Grey's Anatomy got that right.
Well, I'm just like, music in general is one of the, even with my chronic pain, music and dancing is one of those things that was always like, I suddenly was like, the man out of the wheelchair. I can't stand for an hour, but I'm a concert.
For days, but
Yeah.
yes, all of a sudden I can date.
It's so
Yes.
weird. It's like, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. But no, I felt so terrible for her. So thank you for sharing about vulnerability and just being like in that, because that's really where I was. It was like everything's red hot. Well, so within 3 weeks, I lost 2/3 of my income. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills this month. So that's been like looming, although I have these, like, the book tour and I'm not empty-handed, but I'm in a season where it's similar to other seasons where I lost multiple clients at the same time. And then I ended up losing more than just clients. And I'm like, well, I'm going to lose this season, but I don't want to not have faith in the things that I've been putting my work and effort into. And so it was just,
So let's take it back to last week's conversation. I know, right?
and I listened to our previous week's conversation in between this week and last week. So
Last week, loss. If you plant a seed, it dies.
Yes.
So, but when it dies, it produces growth.
Yes. Yeah.
And new life.
Yes.
So
These are the dying things.
these are the dying things. But that feels like the name of a book.
These are the dying things. I bet I could write 1,000 poems about dying things. It's a fair few, but yeah.
But yeah, so I'll challenge you to reframe.
Thank you. Yeah.
Just reframe that as what's about to, not what have I lost? What else am I going to lose? But what's about to grow? Because if you are stuck here answering to those paychecks, you're not out there on a book tour.
But the paychecks were paying the bills. And the book tour costs money. But I feel like there is chance of the book tour. But no, you're right. You're right. And that was
And that's hard.
yeah,
You're in a place you be.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, that's,
Been there
yeah.
a dozen million years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. It's so easy. You go, oh, I see it for you, girl. Let me share some words of encouragement for you. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah. Yes. I know. But yeah, no, I'm excited for you. I am excited to see where this goes for you and what the Lord does. Because he isn't going to forsake you.
I believe that.
He adores you.
I believe.
And what was it that Kim read to us a few weeks ago that these people are going to hear next week? That they're not going to. Anyway, yes. Carrie asked me, are we ever going to get on the right time? I said, if Max has it her way, yes. But said, let's check out this new technology first. And if we like what it does, then yes.
This is close again.
We can close that up.
Just a little bit.
And so we'll see how this works. And maybe for April, we'll close the gap. We'll see technology. But Kim had read to us from Matthew. And if he loves the fields and the birds and he dresses them so well and he cares for them so much, you are his precious. You are his precious. Is he not going to take care of you?
Yeah.
And one thing
Just scary at the edge of the cliff.
oh, something. This is not my story details, so I can't give all the details. But Tara was going through something, and he said in his prayer time, the Lord said, "Got you on the edge of a cliff, and I'm going to push you off. You just have to trust that I'm going to catch you." Mm.
What? That's a fantastic, that is a fantastic analogy because a lot of my fear doesn't necessarily come from the fact that I don't trust that the Lord is there, but just that I trust that the Lord's just gonna put me through some things. Like I, I, I trust that the refiner's fire is hot.
Do you trust that that fire produces
Yes.
fabulous things?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I do.
So focus on the fabulous things.
Yeah. I'll try that. And the dead and the growth. It was really difficult. And I hadn't really thought about that with like because it was sort of like I saw it coming because I knew, because it wasn't through any fault of my own. I knew my contracts were in. I had like 1.5 months like warning. But I was just going along and doing my thing. And I was like, I'll just focus on the thing that I know that I need to do and I'll keep going. And then hopefully by the time that falls through, I'll be set up to take flight on the next thing. But there's a gap.
So harder.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't really think about the death part with the growth and, um, so I thought about that the other week with the other things that were dying, but not this, that those things were done. And as much as I enjoyed because what's funny is because you talked about, the switching the one for the other, or if I'm doing this and I'm not up doing that. And that's exactly what it is. The two contracts that ended were one type of revenue stream that takes me away from the office. It takes me away from the writing. It has nothing to do with the book or any, it has nothing to do with all of this that I'm building up. It's been the thing that has sustained paying the bills while I build up this thing. And now that part is gone and I'm in a position where I have to rely entirely on this. And not for effort of looking for traditional work, but I physically am usually not qualified for it, either by way of education, but usually if I look at the job description of something, I can tell by its physical demands if I'm going to burn out on it very quickly or not. If it's a stand all day job, I'm screwed. I can't do fast food. I can't do retail. I can't do warehouse. I could I'll be there for 3 hours and I'll be in so much excruciating pain. So I just sort of self-eliminate
Correct.
in that process. And it kills you.
Well, it helps and not waste everybody's time. You know the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing I'll encourage you in your prayer time, in your quiet time with the Father. He has told us we have all that we need.
Mm-hmm.
We have it.
You're right.
So, where is it? Open my eyes. Father, I know that you've provided. I know that it's here. Open my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Show it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because
It is there.
it is so right in front of our
Mhm.
face sometimes, and we just can't see it.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, you mean that thing that right there
Mm-hmm.
the whole time?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I do find that I'm coping with it healthier than the last few times that the bottom dropped out for me like this. Because I would spend hours and hours and hours dwelling. What am I doing? What am I doing? I would just cry, just rock back and forth. I would sleep, and I would take a hot bath. God, but it's the only whole family. And this time I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? You got work to do, Max. Do the work you gotta do. So that's just what I've been doing. And it feels good. It feels good. But you're right. I just keep opening my eyes, Lord. Keep opening my eyes. I appreciate your wise counsel, sister.
Got your back.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Thank you for joining Maxina Sunshine and April Snow on the weekly weather. Like and follow to catch our next conversation.